Hello, good evening. Hello and good evening. Okay. Yeah. Good evening. Hiya, good doctors. Good evening. Can you hear me, please? Somebody should please help me to confirm that you can hear me, so that we can start immediately. So we don't waste so much time. So let me know if you can hear me, please. So we good to go. Let's just get started. CEO Sufficient. Wow, I love that name. I like that name. Thanks so much. You're welcome. Wow. Okay, thank you, Dorcas, for confirming. Thank you, CEO Sufficient. I love the name. So, good evening. Welcome, guys. So, in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to cut that plunging neckline. So, we are going to do the front first. Before I used to do the back first, but most times before you know, na network will start. So let's just do front first. When we finish front, whatever happens with the back is just normal. Okay, thank you. So the first line we have here is our shoulder line, and then the next line we are going to be marking now is our bust point, which we are going to use 10 inches, and then we're going to use 13 inches for our under bust. Okay, and then we are going to use 17 inches for our waist. Okay, and then the top length we will use the end of our pattern, which is 24 inches. So those are lines on our pattern paper. Okay, so we have our bust line, which is 10 inches. That shoulder to bust is 10 inches, and then shoulder to under bust is 13 inches. Sometimes I normally add 5 inch 5 I normally add half inch to my under bust, so maybe it will now be like 13.5. That's still okay. And then I have my waist. So for the waist, I'm using 17 inches, and then the top length of the top we're cutting of this plunging neckline top is going to be 24. Okay, so this is our bust point, under bust, waist, and then top length. Okay, and then the dimensions that I'm going to be making use of, for those of you that have been following us when we're doing normal size, our bust is 36, our under bust is 30, the waist is 34, and then the top length waist is 40. Okay, so those are the dimensions we're going to be making use of. So the first thing, like I said, we're drafting the front first. So if you are just us, you're welcome. Let me know where you're watching me from. I would really want to know. You guys should please like this video. Okay, like the video so that other people can see it. I want to set it in such a way that you can see the table. Yes, you can see the table at once. Okay, all right, so let's go. So our shoulder measurement, we're using 14 inches for our shoulder. So you divide 14 into 2, you're going to have 7. So I'll add half inch to it. And from that half inch, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, so like I said, we're doing the front first, and then from that point I came down by 1. I'm going to mark it into our shoulder line. Okay, so guys, for my armhole, half of my armhole, I'm going to use 8 inches. So how do you cut your armhole? You can decide to divide your bust circumference into 6 and then add 1.5, or you just take your tape around your armpit and measure it and divide it into 2. So that's the one I'm using, which is 8 inches. So that 8 inches is going to serve at sorry, I say it's going to serve as my chest line. Okay, so that's my chest line. And then from that point, I'm going to mark a straight line like this. I'll just connect a straight line to that point. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Please let me know if you can hear me now. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. So let me just go over this again. So like I said, just this is our chest line, and then we just did our armhole curve. So thank God that we're not far. Okay. So that's it. So the next thing we want to do, the battery of the other microphone ran down. So that's why. Thank God backup. So the next thing we want to do now, we want to add our bust span, which is our nipple to nipple, which is for my own nipple to nipple, that's from one nipple to the other, is 8 inches. So I'll divide that into two. I'm going to have 4. So that 4 inches, I'm going to mark that 4 inches across all of the lines. Okay. So I'll mark them across all of the lines like this. And then I'm going to use my straight ruler like this. I would connect it. Okay. So after connecting this, the next thing now, we want to create that whole style line. So that's what we want to do. So the next thing I want to do, I'm going to come to my under bust area like this. Okay. So on my under bust area, I want to take out 3 inches of that. So that 3 inches of that, I'm going to divide it into two. I'll mark 1.5 to my right and then mark 1.5 to my left. Okay. And then I'm going to connect it. So I'll just take it down like this. I will mark it down. So the next thing I want to do, I want to connect it to my bust points. Okay. So I'm going to take my pattern curve like this, and then I am going to connect it. Let it get to my curve like this. Okay. Can you see how beautiful it is? Yes, our bustier is bustiering. So the next thing we want to do, I want to show you, my phone is not here. I would have showed you guys. So now we want to create that curve at that top part of that plunging neckline. You understand? You know that curve. So that curve, that is what it will cover on that part. So you can decide to like come up by 2 inches or 3 inches. So it depends on how cover you want that top, that arc on the top of that chest is. So you can do 2 inches or 2.5. So it depends. So but mine, since I want it, I'm going to do 3 inches, and then from me, I'm going to check the length, that 3 inches. So that 3 inches is like 5.5 inches. Okay, that's like coming from the top. It's going to be 5.5 inches. So I did 3 inches. That's I went up by 3 inches. The more you go up, the top will be covered. You understand? So that is why. And then from there, I'm going to connect the line like this. Okay. So the next thing we want to do our tightening at this part. Okay. So in creating the tightening for that part, the next thing we want to do, I want to use 0 point. I want to use zero. That's I want 0.75. Okay, so that's like this line here. So I'm going to place it here like this, and then I'm going to mark it here to my right hand side. And then I'll place it here also. I'll mark it to my left hand side, okay, to tighten that bust part. So the next thing, I'm going to take my tape, like my scissor, what do you call it? My curve like this, and then I'm going to create curve this, let it go into the bust point. Can you see? So this is what will help to make my bust here, to make it really curvy. So you can see, okay, so I've cut that out. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to create plunge. Okay, so that plunge, this is my waist. Okay, that's like waist, bottom, just like where that curve got to. So it depends on how plunging you want it to be. So if you want it to come up more, you can come up, but if you want to use waist part, that is that part, let it get to the down of the navel, you are going to use here. Okay, can you see? So the next thing we want to do on this part, I'm just going to come in by like quarter of an inch. So I don't want this side to be too wide. I'll come in by quarter of an inch, and then from this side I am going to create a curve. So I'm just, you can see I'm using my free hand. This is a simple process. I'm just like using my free hand to do this, and then once I get to it, just going to blend it. Can you see? Or blend it into that point. So I'm just kind of like checking it first before I would roll it. So this part now, this is that chest part, depends on how wide I want it to be. So since I'm eyeballing it, so this side I have like half inch, that's on the line, I have like half inch, which is the width is going to be 1 inch, and then on the bust point area also it's going to be like 1 inch. Okay, on this line is going to be a little bit, no, it's half inch, which is 1 inch, and then on this one also is half inch. So you can see, so it's going to be, that part is going to be like 1 inch. So it totally depends on you, okay. So that is okay. Why on the that top part, the difference is going to be like, you see, it's difference is going to be like 4 inches. That's the width, okay. So after carving it out, that is okay. So the next thing I want to do, this one, I'm going to like curve this into my armhole, okay. So but before I do that, I know I don't want any shortage, okay, because I don't want any shortage to be on my pattern. When I'm going to check it, I'm just going to use my, to check from here to those bust points, okay. So I have like 3.5, so I'm going to take that 3.5, I'll place it here. So this one is a little longer, so that with like quarter of an inch, so I'm going to extend this part a little bit and then blend it in. So now I'm going to have, I'm just trying to check it, okay. So okay, so the next thing I want to do now, I want to use my pattern curve to give this a beautiful curve into armhole. And then I am going to, so you can see. So the next thing we want to do now, I want to take out our full body measurements, okay. So we want to take out our full body measurement. So our full body measurement, the bust. So please let me know if you can hear me. Oh. So our bust circumference, like we measured earlier, is 36. Divide by 4, we have 9, and then I'm going to add my 3 inches that, and then just 1 inch because it's a corset, just 1 inch stitching allowance. And then I'm going to come to my under bust, which is 30. I'll divide 30 into 4, I have 7.5. I'll add my 3 inches that intake, and then add just 1 inch allowance. I'll come to the waist part, I'll divide 34 into 4, I'll mark it here. I'll add my 3 inches that, and then add my 1 inch, and then I'll come to the hem, okay. I'll divide 40 into 4 and then add my dart and then allowance. So we're still going to snatch the waist of this, which is absolutely optional. You get, so I'll just curve it like this, and then just give this a good, give it a good blend. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now, so I'll just give this a nice curve for that armhole. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to snatch this part that is like making it like a corset. So the next thing, I'm just going to come to waist part, then I'm going to check what I have. I'll divide that into two. I'll mark it here, and then I'll use my straight ruler like this to give it a mark. So this is totally optional, okay? And then I want to take out an extra of 1 inch from this part. It is optional, like I said. It's just because I want it to be snatched. That is why I am doing this. That is why I am doing this. So you can see it's optional. So on part, this part, okay. Let's see. Somebody dropped a message. YouTube have they heard the message. I want to read it. Let's see. No. Ah, this 1.5 your mark at the both sides. Is it for a big bust? Yes. Yes, it is. Because of the bust that you put, so that's why they heard the message and talk as it is for a big bust. It's perfect. Like it is for a big bust. 1.5 is okay for big bust. It's okay for a big bust. So all right. So the next thing I hope is okay. So you guys should please like the video. So we are done with the front pattern. So you guys should see, if you have questions, you can ask your questions, okay? We take this out. So the next thing, I want to create that basque effect. In order for me to create that basque effect, I'm just going to come up by 3 inches like this, or 3.5 inches. I'll mark it here, and then I'm just going to curve that into my pattern like this. Okay, so that's for that. So that's it. Can you guys see how beautiful our pattern is looking? So like I said, for those of you that don't know how to draft pattern, you guys should be joining Stylish Naija online, and what do we call it, online evening, our evening live streams, where I teach you guys pattern drafting like in time. All those I don't like pattern, I don't like pattern. You will not even be joining people to be saying it again, because you will be so good that you will so understand everything about pattern drafting. You get. So I want to cut out the yoke first. So let me cut this armhole. So the next thing, let me add the neckline to the front of our pattern, okay? For the front. So I'm just going to add, I use inches, and then let's do maybe 3 by 2. Yes, do 3 by 2 or 3 by 3, anyone. So I'm just going to curve that like this. So that's for our pattern. That's for our front pattern, okay? So I'll cut them out like this. For those of you that are just joining us, you are welcome, very, very well. Okay. So I'm just, yes. So now I'm going to take out the yolk. Okay. So this part now, if you want to, I want to make sure that this part is equal. This is what I use behind. That's good. So you guys, you see that the thing equal, because remember that time I measured it. I noticed that this one was a little bit short, and I had to increase this. So you see, when you join them together now, you see that both of them are the same. So another way you can do this again, you can create this curve. You can decide to tape this together and then still create your curve, so you get it equally. Okay. So that's it. So now let me cut it together like that so that I scatter. No, 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 no. Let me cut it straight abeg, so that my yoke will be straight. So this one you have to be very careful. So get to this part. You see, this part is just going to go out, except if you want it to be very wide. Can you see the yoke? See the yoke? You see as the thing is long. So that's it for the yoke. So the next thing now, we are going to cut all of this. So for this part, I actually did not snatch this part. It's optional. You can decide to snatch it. So the next thing now, we are going to cut this out. Okay. Let me not cut that part of that yoke out. So like I said, this is the front of our pattern. The back is just normal, but I'll still show you guys how to the back of this pattern. Okay. So you guys should please like this video. I would really appreciate it. So this is the side of my pattern. So like I said, if you this is number 2, this is number 3, and then this is of course number 1. Okay. So that's for our front pattern, and then this is the yoke. Can you see? You see the yoke, just like the picture on the thumbnail. This is what you use to cut that yoke, and then you put it inside. Okay. So the next thing we want to do now, we want to cut out the back. So we are done with the front of our pattern. So I'm just going to take this up. I'll keep them here, and then we'll go straight up for the back of our pattern. So for those of you that are just joining us, you're welcome. Let me know where you're watching me from. Like this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed. If you have not subscribed, you are missing out, because we used to do pattern drafting. If you know that your hand is not strong in pattern drafting, every evening around 7:10, 7:15, come and check and see if we are live. You will learn how to draft pattern before you know what is happening. By this time next year, pattern drafting will not be your problem again. Okay. So you'll be so good at it that your eyes will open, all the scale will fall out. You now know, okay, this pattern drafting is safe, no be big deal. You will now understand. All right, so let's go. Our bust. So this is our shoulder line, and then our bust point, just like we did with our front. And then our under bust is 13. Our waist is 17. Since I'm not adding any dart to the bust, so and then the full length is 24. Okay. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to mark it. We are going to So I'm marking all of the lines, okay? So and then this is our bust point, under bust, waist, and then top length, okay? So the next thing we want to do, we want to add our shoulder measurement. So for the shoulder, we're using 14. You divide 14 into 2. So we divide 14 into 2. we're going to have 7 and then add half inch to it. That's 7.5. Okay, you can see. So the next thing, from that point you're going to come down by 8 inches, like I said. Oh, sorry, by 1 inch. I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope first. I'll just connect that, and then from that part I'm going to mark 8 inches, which is for my chest line. I'll mark it that way, and then I am going to just connect it like this. So the next thing we are going to do, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to mark half of our, we're going to mark our bust circumference, so which is 9. So you remember we're using 36, so I'm just going to curve it. So this is our back pattern, so you really don't need to come in, just give it a good curve, that is all. The next thing we want to do, we want to add our bust pan. So that bust pan will help us to take out our dart. So like I said, we're using 8 inches. You divide that 8 inches into 2, we're going to have 4 inches. So that 4 inches, you mark the 4 inches across all of your lines, and then you are going to connect it straight like this. So after connecting it straight, we want to come up. So this is our chest line. Okay, so this is our chest line, which is 8 inches. So it depends on how deep you want the back to be. If you want it to not to be that deep, you can decide to come up, just raise it up by 1 inch, which is okay. So that will now be your like the back yoke, and then I'll connect it like this. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now, we want to mark out our neckline for the back. So we use our 3 inches. So since this is the back, we can do 3 by 3 or 3 by 6. So it depends. You can make your back neckline a little bit deeper, which is totally fine. So we'll mark it that way. The next thing we want to do now, I want to take out our dart. So for the dart, I'm just using 1 inch. So I'm going to come to my waist area. I'll mark half inch to my right and then half inch to my left. Okay, so when I do that, the next thing I want to do, I want to connect those lines like this. I'll connect it like, I'll connect it this way. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, we want to take out our full body measurement. So our bust circumference, I'm using 36 for the bust circumference. Divide by 4, which is 9. I'll add 1 inch for that, and then 1 inch stitching allowance for my back piece, or 1.5 inch. Now I'll use the same 1 inch I used for the back, because I took out 1 inch, so I'm still going to take out that 1 inch. Okay, so the next thing, I am going to come to my under bust, which is 30. I'll divide that into 4, sorry, and then add my dart, and then add my stitching allowance. I'll come to my waist also. I'll divide that into 4. That's our 34. That's our waist circumference. I wrote them out during the first, when we're doing the front part of the tutorial. And then I'll add my 1 inch dart, and then add my stitching allowance also. I'll come to my waist. That's the top length. So I'm using 40, divide by 4, add our dart, and then add our stitching allowance. So the next thing, I am going to connect all of these lines like this. I'll connect those ones, and then connect these ones like this. Okay, and then the next thing, I'm going to join those ones. I'll like connect them together like this. Okay, so the next thing I want to do now, I want to snatch that waist. Remember what we did with our front pattern. I'm going to come to this part. I'll check what I have here and just put my tape. I can decide to put it at random. So because since I don't want the dart to be straight, so I can put it at random and just create a slanted line. And then I'll take half inch to my right, and then take half inch to my left like this. Okay, so after that, the next thing I want to do, I am going to connect this like this. Okay, I'll just connect it like this. I'll connect it like this. So that's it. So you can see I've succeeded in doing that. So for the back part, I'm going to cut out the yoke first, and then before then, so I'm going to come to this part. Since I'm going to be adding loops to it, I'm going to take out an extra of 2 inches from this back pattern. But if you want to be adding a zipper to it, you are going to add 2 inches. But if you want to do it like a corset back, you take out 2 inches, okay? But excuse me, but if you want to add a zip to it, you add 2 inches. So you can see the way it is a two-way thing. So if you are going to add, so you can see, okay? So that's all we need. It is a simple process, very simple process. Thank you so much. Thank you. See you. I appreciate that. So the next thing, I'm going to cut this out, okay? So like I normally used to tell my students, okay, you see this part, I did not blend it. I almost forgot. So that place is not looking straight. I was supposed to blend it like this. That's like you take your, and then you blend that curve. Just give it a blend like that. So you see, it will help you create that armhole curve, okay? So that's for our back yoke. And then this one, you take this one out for the corset back. So you take that out, and then you can label your patterns. This is one, this is two, and then this is three. Okay. And then you can cut and just go ahead and just cut them all out. Okay. So as I round up, I just want to say thank you to all of you that tuned in to our tutorial for tonight. I want to say thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Those of you that commented, thank you. The ones that came silently, came and be watching, thank you for watching. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. God bless you, Docker, CEO, Sufficient. Let me read all the other ones. These ones are like the two names that are on my head. Let's see. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, Tandiwe, thank you so much. Okay, you were the one that was complaining about the sound. Okay, Ayogu Dockers, thank you. Okay, I think I've answered that question. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much. So I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Okay, let's be hopeful.